Hello and welcome to Matchday Live. Yeah, Chelsea at the moment in Club World Cup action against Al Hilal. 20 minutes gone. We'll come to that in a second in the studio. I've got Sam and Dan with me, and we've got our brilliant Zoom wall as well. We've got Elizabeth, Tara and Brett and Jonathan as well. We'll be coming to the guys throughout the game as well to recap on it. At the moment, 20 minutes in, good start from Chelsea, boys. It's been a nice, high-tempo start to the game. Chelsea been the better side out of the two, Sam.
Yeah, there's been a lot of energy, but I'd say we've controlled the game so far. I think we're trying to insert our dominance, like we said previously, and yeah, it's looking like we should hopefully get a goal very soon.
It's been a good start, Dan, in terms of Thomas Tuchel, wherever he's watching, whatever feed he's got to watch, or if he's somehow. I wonder if they're Skyping him. I wonder if they're Zoom calling, FaceTiming him from the dugout to make sure he gets the perfect feed. But he'll be pleased with what he's seen so far.
Yeah, we've been in control. I mean, it seemed like a bit of an open game. But we're definitely getting the better of it. Kovacic seems to be kind of controlling the midfield and making sure things are ticking over nicely. I'm like Sam, I think there will be a goal at some point in this half.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been a good 20 minutes or so to start the game. The one thing that has been noted quite quickly on social media has been the high line that we see Al Hilal playing. Super high line from Al Hilal. Space for Rom to run into rather than being a target man in a clump of players. Theoretically, great for Pulisic and Werner too. It's a really good point. We've got many players that can come on and make an impact from the bench as well. Let's get some Zoom reaction on that. Elizabeth, on that high line, like the tweet said brilliantly well, we've got pace to come in from the bench, but also it plays into Lukaku's strength. Early doors, we've seen a couple of opportunities with him very nearly getting into a shooting opportunity.
It's been really close, and I keep going, thinking that we're going to score. But like Jan said in the tweet, I think that it's really positive that Lukaku isn't surrounded by 3 or 4 defenders, because that's what we've seen in previous games. And it's really hard for anybody to be able to maneuver a ball in that kind of situation. So hopefully with this high line, he has the space that he needs in order to control the ball, to create something. We know that he's really good with his back to goal and to hold up the ball as well. So I think that we could hopefully see more of this in this game. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, definitely. Terran, it's going to be quite an interesting game as well because, in their semi-final, in their quarter-final, they won 6-1. We know they're a very attacking side and like to be ahead of teams and push on the front foot. It's been very open and sort of end-to-end, a good start to the game.
Yes, it has. I was kind of caught in between watching the youth guys and also watching the men's team play. So, yeah, I've been kind of eyes on both. So right now I'm looking at it, and I hope that we can continue to press up high and get a goal here soon.
Definitely right. And Jonathan, just on that, Chelsea do want to try and get an early goal, I suppose. We're 25 minutes in now, still goalless. But as long as Chelsea have got to be patient, have they, in games like this, Jonathan? It's about being patient and knowing that our quality will see us through.
Both right now, looking at it, I hope that we can continue to press up high and get a goal here soon. Definitely.
Oh, I think the feed's we're just a little bit behind on that one. So, Brett, I'll come to you on that, Brett, because just on that point, it's about being patient today, isn't it?
Still goalless, but as long as Chelsea got to be patient.
I can hear myself back there. Don't know what's going on for the second, boys. We'll try and sort that out. But just on that, Sam, it's about being patient, isn't it, in games like this? Because Chelsea have got the quality and it will see us through eventually.
No, definitely. And I think that's what Tuchel would probably be telling his coaches, maintain that patience. There's a long time to go in the game. It's hot out there as well. We've already seen, I think after 15 minutes, we saw a lot of the players really sweating, and obviously that's going to affect them as well. So it's more about just gaining composure and not forcing, trying to create too many opportunities, because at that point, that's when we can leave some gaps at the back.
Do it.
Oh, just a chance there. Lukaku very nearly in. It's a good save in the end from the goalkeeper. Hakim Ziyech has been fantastic first 25 minutes of the game. He's been brilliant recently in general, to be fair. Ziyech on another level from Maya, that one there. And this next one as well. Ziyech and Azpilicueta are getting a ton of space on the right, but I wonder if Chelsea would benefit from dropping Ziyech into the middle and playing Havertz up top with Lukaku. Maybe a little switch-in formation and switch-in system there. Brett, just on that, Hakim Ziyech has been one of our best players in the last couple of weeks. He's really finding that form that we saw him in his spell at Ajax. He was so magical, and he's really contributing again to everything that's good at Chelsea at the moment. Oh, I think we've got you on mute at the moment, Brett. Sorry, mate. Just check.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. So he's had a couple great goals in the past few games. Oh, we just, man, I think we're a little bit behind him. But, yeah, no, Ziyech is, he's been really good coming out of the fold recently. And, he was kind of one of those players that was kind of out, on the fray out of the team. And I've just seen him come back in these past few weeks. And he's shown that quality that he has. And I'm glad to see the mentality that he's, shown up the past few weeks.
Absolutely right, and even there, Dan, we just saw a lovely slide ball in from Ziyech, and that's what you want from him, isn't it? You want him cutting inside onto his left foot and making those plays, whether it be shooting from range like we saw the Tottenham goal, or making that slide ball in for Lukaku to run in beyond the high line that we've already seen tweeted about.
Yeah, you love him coming from the left, right-hand side, because he just comes inside, he can shoot, he can do the reverse pass. He started very lively. Havertz as well. I've been impressed with Havertz. It's a good game, I've been very impressed with Kovacic. We've had a couple of chances. We're beginning to start building the pressure and turning the screw now.
Absolutely right. I mean, we're just seeing a foul there between Moussa Marega and Thiago Silva. That's going to be a big tussle this afternoon, Sam, because Marega obviously played against Chelsea last season in the Champions League for Porto. We know he's got a huge amount of ability, very good on the ball, technically very good, a goal scorer. I think he's got 9 already for Al Hilal this season. He's going to be a big imposing figure for Thiago Silva up against today.
Yeah, and I think about the way Silva started this game, he knows that he's trying to get tapped to him quite quickly. He's not really trying to give him space to turn or really think about what he's going to do with the ball. And I think that's what he needs to do and maintain throughout the game, because, like you said, he is a goal scorer, and if he does get an opportunity, he's going to take it.
Absolutely right. We were talking about goalkeepers before the game, weren't we? And today is a bit of a full circle moment, actually, because you'll see here, on this day in 2004, Chelsea signed Petr Cech. His first season at the club, the Blues became the champions for the first time in 50 years, the English champions for the first time in 50 years, set a record for most clean sheets a season of 25 and only 15 goals conceded in the season. Staggering. Yeah. And lovely moment today, actually, because, as you can see, Petr Cech taking the team talk ahead of the training session, which is lovely. Dan, we met Petr Cech, well, I say met. He was in the lift as we were coming up earlier this season, and he's the only man I've ever seen you flustered in front of. Yeah,
do you know what? I tried to keep my composure, and I just after around 10 seconds, I just put my hand out. I said, "Sir, it's an honour. It is, That's big Peter. That's big Petr Cech, and look, there's very few legends in this world, and especially in my life, but he's one of them. He's literally, epitomises Chelsea.
Absolutely right. Jonathan, just on that, Petr Cech, what an absolute legend he is. What a lovely man. And we're in safe hands, quite literally, with Petr Cech, aren't we?
Definitely. More than a decade of service for us, even coming back right now. I remember last year, especially when he is there fighting on the front. During the Super League thing, he's there meeting the fans, explaining to the fans about all this. So, absolute legend.
Absolute legend, you're absolutely right. Terran, just on that, have you ever met anyone that you've got a little bit flustered around, a celebrity that you've not been able to keep your composure with?
Not yet. I'm looking forward to meeting some Chelsea legends. I guess the closest I could say I've been was when Chelsea was in Charlotte. I got to get close enough to see Mario Melchiot and some of the guys. Just here for that, but never got to actually talk or speak to them or shake hands with them.
Well, when we get you over to the Matchday Live studio, Jason Cundy's a lovely man, I can assure you. He's an absolutely lovely man, so don't worry about that. We'll look after you.
I look forward to that.
We'll look after you in Jason's company. Elizabeth, I was going to ask you about your numerous encounters with Cesar Azpilicueta. Maybe you could talk us through any of those.
I actually, contrary to popular belief, I haven't met Aspie yet. It's coming. But the funny story is that the Spanish national team actually trains 5 minutes from my apartment, and I had no idea that they trained so close. And so I tweeted, "Oh, I'm going to try to run into Aspie," and he saw it and gave me a signed jersey, which is pretty freaking cool.
That is awesome, isn't it? Yes! Chelsea have taken the lead. Romelu Lukaku, very composed, close finish to goal. 1-0 Chelsea. Sam, patience. We were talking about half an hour. The goal comes.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant play. I think we maintained composure down the left-hand side, and I think it was Havertz who put the ball in. Patient, Lukaku had a few opportunities in this game, and you could tell he's almost getting frustrated, just not scoring with every chance that he gets. So it's nice for him to get on the score sheet and hopefully get a few more now.
Does feel a bit like that, Dan, doesn't it? Because Kai Havertz does some brilliant work on the left-hand side. It's a bit of a pinball situation where it kind of hits the defender's head and falls to him. But Lukaku, he doesn't snatch it. He just makes sure he gets enough on it and puts it in from close range. But again, those ones, they come at you so quickly.
They come at you fast, and yes, you can snatch at them, but
they make me more nervous.
3 yards out, you have to score that. You have to score that. A lot of the work for that goal was done by Kovacic. They tried to press him deep in our half, and he skipped out and had like a 60-yard run with the ball down the left-hand side and played it to Havertz. So that transition from Kova is what created the opening.
Brett, I know we're all massive Kai Havertz fans. He's one of those footballers that I just love to watch play football because he makes everything look effortless but brilliant at the same time. To have him and a Lukaku, a potential partnership like that, starting to sort of, I don't know, come together and work is something that Chelsea fans can get very excited about.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Kai starts to play more too. The guy is young guy, 23 years old, I think. He's one of the best in the world, and he shows it for Germany. And he's showing it today. We actually just saw the goal. I think we're a little bit behind you. So we just saw it. So yeah. So he's a great player, and we're lucky to have him at Chelsea.
Absolutely right. Absolutely, and that tenacity as well, Sam, because it's very easy for Kai Havertz to be sort of branded as a luxury player, you know, because he's got that sort of that composure, he's got that relaxed style, he's got that fleet of foot, lovely first touch, great balance. It's very easy for people to kind of lazily go, yeah, but is he in it for the the fight? Is he in it for the scrap? When you see that goal a little bit later on, it's sheer work rate, it's sheer fight, desire to make sure he gets the ball, gets the better of the defender and then sets up a chance. Could quite easily have just gone, I'll take a corner here, but he doesn't, does he? He wants to get at it.
Yeah, he loves to get stuck in, and I think, like you said, that's a kind of misconception with Havertz because of the type of player he is. Like, he's just elegant. So when he's on the ball, you think that he's being lazy. He's not being lazy, he just looks good when he's on the ball. But when he loses the ball, you see the work ethic that he puts in to get the ball back. When players may put a ball into an area that it might not be to his feet, he'll make sure he runs, so you know he makes something of it, just like the goal, and that's a great mentality to have in your team and to have for the other players, and a great example as well.
Completely right, Dan. I know you've called him up already, but Mateo Kovacic getting quite a lot of love already on social media, rightly so. Kovacic and his running from midfield is a cheat code. It really is. Kovacic is another one that I think people that don't watch Mateo Kovacic week in, week out don't quite appreciate how much he brings to a game, but he can do everything, and when he plays, Chelsea are a better team for it.
He does do it. He's running the show here. He really is. You know, he picks it up from the fence, and he's instantly, you know, you press him and he's press proof, and he gets his head up and he's able to play, you know, wonderful balls. He's a phenomenal player. I actually prefer that the other teams don't watch him and don't appreciate him because I don't want anyone trying to snoop in and take him. But he is ridiculous. He can do it all. He can pass. He can shoot when he decides to shoot. But he's so tenacious and excellent dribbler.
Let me ask you then, because he's definitely in the conversation, but who's your player of the season so far?
But I don't know.
That's a tough one.
He's in the argument. He's in the argument. I'm not sure if there's been a standout man. If there is, I'd probably go Thiago Silva.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think Kovacic and Thiago Silva both in that conversation. Sam, anyone age on
I'd put Rudiger as well. I think he's been quite consistent, ever present in that defence. He deserves a goal, so I'm hoping he gets one of the screamers that he's been trying to get all season. But defensively, he's been amazing. This
season is absolutely summed up. Just Al Hilal, their slam one over the bar from about 20 odd yards, kind of limited in that, which is really good. On that point, Rudiger's due one, and you know, if the narrative is nice, if it's meant. He's going to score a worldie either in the final of the Club World Cup on Saturday or in the Carabao Cup final at the end of the month against Liverpool or in a big game, because he deserves that. Yeah, no, he's got very close. And every time he gets in and around that area, I like the fact that the Chelsea fans and we're in here always screaming, like, shoot, because it might go in. Like, it's not bad shooting. Some of them are on target, some of them hit the post, but it's also the energy that he shows to get into that area. Like you said, we've seen him win free kicks, we've seen him win penalties, decisive penalties in big games this season. So, yeah, he's always getting in that position, so he deserves one. Completely right. Completely right. More Mateo Kovacic love coming in on social media. That Kovacic run, though, no other midfielder in Europe can do that like Kovac can. It's so true. He's got that balance and that he's got the Eden Hazard-esque weight of foot and ability to do that. Just carrying on that then. I'd love to know who your player of the season is so far. Elizabeth, who are you saying?
I'd have to agree with you guys. I haven't had like a super standout player, but if I had to pick one, it would be between Kovacic and Thiago Silva. I think that they've both been really consistent anytime that they've been playing. Maybe right now I'm leaning a little bit more towards Thiago Silva just because Kovacic was out for a decent part of the season up until now. But I think if he can continue the form, he definitely has a shot of winning player of the season again.
It's a really good shout, isn't it? Jonathan, what about, I mean, I know that they're injured at the moment, but Reece James and Ben Chilwell would have been in this chat definitely 2 months ago. Probably one of them running away with it. They've been very unfortunate with injury, but still in that market, aren't they?
Definitely, Reece James before his injury was one of the more impressive players. Every time he has the ball, I think that something can happen. He's providing the crosses in, which we are lacking right now. But I think things will turn out well. I hope.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I think there's a tweet actually. Maybe we're leaning it, guys. Maybe we are leaning the chat because Gabe Henderson. This is a hot take. Mateo Kovacic might just get my shout for player of the season thus far at Chelsea. He's been incredible. I wonder if Dan's phone's going to start popping from other players that are saying, just put my name in there. Yeah. Just put my name in there a little bit. You never know. Brett, who's your player of the season so far? And the guys you're with as well. Could you introduce us to those?
Yeah. This is my buddy here. Say hi.
Hey, I'm Gabriel.
Hey, and that's Ash. So, yeah, we were talking about just now, we were saying Ben Chilwell and Reece James were a good shout, but they're injured at the time. So we both said,
I think I'm going to go with Reece. When he comes back, he'll take it, score a few important goals at the tail end of the season.
It's a really good shout.
Yeah, I'd probably Thiago, one of our defenders. It's a clear cut. It's not clear cut right now, and especially with the injuries, right? But I think our defensive line has been really well, including Mendy too. So. I'd say one of those.
Mendy's a good shout too.
Yeah.
That's a really good shout. And like you said, defensively, we've been so good scoring goals as well. Terran, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but I suppose you've got to throw Kerr in there as well. He's won us a piece of silverware already. He's been involved in so many penalty shootout heroics and done really well while Mendy's gone. So, I mean, I'm widening the chat here. I've basically named every Chelsea player in the squad, but who's your player of the season so far?
I think it's Rudiger for me. I think he's done everything fantastic. He's been good on and off, especially in the media, given that he's got the contract situation. So I would go with Rudiger because he's performed well, done everything good, been a leader, shown the fight that we want in Chelsea. So I'm going Rudiger this year.
Yeah, great shout, great shout. Make sure you get your comments in the section down below as well. Let us know if we've missed anyone. I think I've named everyone, to be fair. Don't think I've missed anyone. I think I've named everyone. But that's the point, Sam, isn't it? You know, we've got so many players that have been playing. So, I mean, Azpi's done really well again so far today. And I know that we're all very biased towards Cesar Azpilicueta. He's a fantastic club captain. He's a fantastic leader for the football club on and off the pitch. He does so much, and he's just a real ambassador for the club. But also, like Elizabeth pointed out in the pre-match before the Youth League game, he plays in a number of different positions. He fills a number of different holes. And the fact you've got a Cesar Azpilicueta within your squad, you notice if he's not there more than sort of when he is. And that's probably the biggest compliment you can pay him because he's so dependable. He comes in, performs at such a level that he just meets that expectation again and again and again.
Yeah, and he never complains. Like he's the type of player that genuinely just enjoys being a part of the team and contributing to us winning games. Dan mentioned a few minutes ago about how when he was at left back, when he had that stint at left back, he was probably the best left back in the league. And then he went to right back. He's had a few, like Elizabeth said, at centre back as well. And it just shows the type of professional he is. Even at his age now, he still takes pride in, you know, being a part of the team, you know, leading. He said in his interview that he genuinely had to take the step up because Tuchel isn't there. He had to, you know, assume that responsibility, and not a lot of players would do that. And for him to be able to do that after so many years of being at Chelsea is just amazing.
Completely right, and even so, Dan, you know, little things like he was the first person to greet Eduard Mendy when he joined the squad after his African Cup of Nations thing, and that's fantastic. That's brilliant. It could be a chance here for Hakim Ziyech, by the way. It's good block on the line and just cleared. But just carrying on from that, you know, I was lucky enough to go to the annual lunch, and Thomas Tuchel and Cesar Azpilicueta were interviewed by Alison Bender on the stage talking about the team. And the first thing that the interviewer said to him to Aspi was, how do you feel this season? You know, you're probably not playing as much as you'd like. And Thomas Tuchel stepped in and goes, he's not very happy with me because he's not playing.
Yeah.
But that's the only sign you've ever got from it. And it was like laughed off. It was wonderfully diffused and really nice sort of moment between the two of them. Yeah. But that character to have someone, because at other clubs, and, you know, I'm not digging out other clubs for any specific reason, but when a player's unhappy, you read about it, you see that their body language is a bit down. With Aspi, every single day, he is a model professional and he is a wonderful ambassador to have. And Thomas Tuchel said he's his right-hand man for more than just that reason. He's a fantastic pro and an absolute club legend.
Yeah, he's got that perfect balance of, you know, team player, joker, he's authoritative. He's almost like the playing version of Tommy Tuchel. He's so dependable, you know. He doesn't... There is nobody that will say, you know, we never carry him. You know, he's always putting in a massive shift. Even when he's up against, you know, a pacey winger, you know he's smart enough to be able to navigate his way through the game. You need players like him in the team, in the squad, in the dressing room. But you need players like that, you know, because even if they're not playing 38 matches and they're only playing half of them or less than that, you need them for your dressing room. The young players really need those kind of players around.
Exactly that point, especially over the Christmas period when we played about 50 games in 24 hours, it felt like. You need experience to get you through that, don't you? You need players that have been there and done that and know how to win and get over the line. Kai Havertz, we're going to hear from Kai Havertz on Saturday afternoon on the show for the final, hopefully, or the third place game in terms of his little video diary while he's been out there. And he's talking a lot about what he's had to do since he's come in and again, the maturity that he's shown in the year and a half, 2 years he's been here. But he's already a Champions League winner, scored in the Champions League final. There's players that will go through their whole career not doing that. It's a really good tweet, in fact, about Kai Havertz, just kind of mentioning that point. He's a big game player. He really is a big game player. You know, he scores in the Champions League final. He sets up the goal already today. For such a young player to be relied upon to come up with big clutch moments in big games already, such a big skill that won't often get marked with him. Yeah. But when you look at it on paper, the goals that he scored and the games that he scored, for such a young player to have come to the fore already, what a talent we've got.
Yeah, 100%. And we've, like you said, we've seen it over the span of him being at Chelsea. He's always composed in the moments that you'd want to see composure. Because as a fan, you're frantic. We're doing very well to stay composed right now. But for him, it's like, it's genuinely, you can just see it. It just oozes through every touch that he takes, is the moves that he makes. Yeah. And seeing that, it kind of brings you like a calmness. Like in the Champions League final, the goal that he scored, yeah, he said that he was thinking about the tweets and what people would be saying, but you wouldn't really tell that by him going round the keeper and slotting it home. And I think we're seeing it today as well. He's always working, like I said, and he's proven to be similar type of mentality to Azpilicueta in terms of like just the model professional.
Yeah, absolutely right. And again, he's another player that, despite being a young age, is already someone that players can look up to and learn from. And I think he's fantastic. He really is. Jonathan, I remember speaking to you after the Champions League final on the night and how, obviously, elated we all were. But on that night, probably the calmest player representing Chelsea as a fan or a player was Kai Havertz, because everyone else saw that moment in slow motion when he rounded the goalkeeper. It feels like it took about an hour and a half for the ball to travel into the net. But for Kai Havertz, like Sam just said, he seemed to roll with it, and he's such a good player.
Yeah, his movement is so good, and he's such a graceful player. Things like what you mentioned, his movement is like in slow motion, but then again, he gets everything done. So he's really a fantastic player to watch. And when he rounded the keeper, I was like, know that, like, it reminds me of the Torres goal in the year we won the Champions League as well against Barcelona. When he rounded the keeper, and we all know that it's about to go in, and we're about to take the lead against City.
You're absolutely right. It does have that feel about it, doesn't it? Where Thiago Silva's just down at the moment, sort of clutching his knee. I think it's only an impact injury. I think he'll be all right, but not far off half-time. I suppose that'll be the big thing now, Dan, is just to get to half-time, get in 1-0 up, can regroup, go again. And again, all the emphasis then on Hilal to make a game of it in the second half.
Well, they have no choice. They have to come out. And to be fair, they have given it a good go, but I think we are just the superior team. You know, they have all the advantages on paper when you look at it, in terms of it being so close to where they actually play. We've had to do all the travelling. We're playing in a different climate to what we would be if we were here. You know, it'd be cold if you were here. So we've had to do all the adjusting, but we're we're dealing with it quite well. It looks like a comfortable lead at the moment. Could be more.
Absolutely right. And just gone half-time, by the way. Chelsea are 1-0 up in the Club World Cup semi-final. Elizabeth, on that, you know, Romelu Lukaku getting the opening goal. Fantastic moment for Romelu. I know that we're all willing him and hoping that he can kind of get back to his scoring ways, but a goal like that is brilliant for his confidence boost, isn't it? It looks like an easy finish, but it's come at him really quickly. He's taken it well, and hopefully now that'll be the chance for him to kick on and get a few more.
I hope so. I think with strikers especially, it must be really difficult when you're not in goal-scoring form and you might be even overthinking, oh, when's the goal going to come, and overthink how to shoot. And the thing that this goal brings him is he's gotten the goal that can be checked off of his mental list now, and hopefully that will allow him to just relax a little bit and continue to score more goals.
Absolutely. And Brett, just on that as well, because, you know, we know that the players, they do mark, you know, their goal-scoring talents. They are very aware of the sort of the response of people online. But a goal like that for Romelu Lukaku, as a striker, doesn't matter if it's a 30-yard rocket or if it's a 2-yard tap-in. It's still a goal in the goals column, and that's all centre-forwards want. And a goal like that will please him every bit as much as a 30-yarder.
Yeah, he's just got to, you know, get the goals in. You know, we brought him in here, £97.5 million over summer. And, you know, it's been an interesting, you know, run for him, but he's been scoring goals, you know, as of late. You know, I think he had 2 goals in January. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he keeps it up, right? And you know, we're going to need those goals come into the year if we're going to compete for, you know, the 4 cups that we're in and also the league. We need those goals from Romelu.
Absolutely right, and he's definitely going to start now. I reckon he's going to get a couple more today and a couple more at the weekend. We'll absolutely take that. Goals are easy to come by when you're the Chelsea women's team. They're always scoring goals. Got a plethora of brilliant players to pick from. At the weekend, they took on Manchester City in the WSL. Here are the highlights.
It's a good corner, and with the wind, it is just blocked on the line by Stanway, and really Bright can't sort of feet out from the angle. Seeing the conditions early here, whipped in nearly all the way in, and Stanway only just kept it out. Cross is a good one from Sam Kerr. Cuthbert's going to keep it in. Carter thought about the first time cross, and it comes now. Good ball. Guro Wrighton's there and has scored. First blood, Chelsea. An early lead for the champions in this huge match at the top of the WSL table. It's been a good start, and that's capped it. Dangerous ball. Perfect header. Harder did well. It's a lovely move. Here's Pernille Harder again. Well, that's dangerous. It hasn't gone out of play yet either. Back to Sophie Ingle, who's arriving. And Ingle again. Doesn't get many. When she does, they're spectacular. Including one last season in the Cup against City, actually, but this was way over. Harder. One-on-one with Ruby Mace. And she's beaten a 2. Tight angle. Roebuck makes the stop this time. So strong with the ball at her feet. And Chelsea well on top here. Greenwood who drills it in. And that's Park. Right near the end of the first half, it's the first save of the game for Anne-Katrin Berger, and it's a good one. That looked like it was heading in from Jess Park, who Chelsea have kept very quiet until now. Getting on with the throw. Over to the byline. The handball there. Position, natural or not? Well, that's close. Ruby Mace, it's a little fortunate, I think, there. Nicely done by Bronze. Dangerous cross. Berger came, didn't quite get there. Hemp did. Millie Bright is there. City finally applies some pressure. Chelsea standing firm.
A big win for Chelsea in the WSL, really hot on the heels of Arsenal now. A couple of weeks ago, it kind of looked like a total race was run. Now, all of a sudden, very different. And Dan, Friday night in the WSL, Chelsea take on Arsenal.
It stinks of 3 points to Chelsea, doesn't it? It does. It's just how these things work. Look, we've got to catch up. I feel like these games are 6-pointers when you're looking at the table. Go beat them, get 3 points, and it's all back on.
And a dress rehearsal for the Conti Cup final in a couple of weeks, Sam. So this is, again, setting the tone for what could be the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's gonna mean a lot to the team. I think they're gonna try and go into that game because that's where you can kind of get the mind games going. Do you know what I mean? If they get a result in the first game, then the second game, Arsenal are going to be quite wary. They're going to second guess all the decisions that they make. But like Dan said, it does smell like it's going to be a Chelsea win.
Doesn't it? It's going well at the moment as well. And another name that I don't think probably gets the credit that they deserve in Guro Reiten. A big goal for Guro, but in a sort of a season where we're always talking about the heights of Erin Cuthbert, Pernille Harder, Sam Kerr, Fran Kirby. Guro Reiten very quietly going about their business and making a massive impact. Some really big goals, but some really big performances as well last couple of weeks.
Yeah, like really putting in a shift and being an important player in a team. You need those kind of players, if I'm honest. You know, there are ones that everybody can see, and then there are the ones that only your team can see and understand how important you are to the cogs of the team.
Completely, and like we're saying about the Chelsea men's team and Thomas Tuchel's team, Emma Hayes has got so many brilliant players to select from. When other teams, it looks like Manchester City, when we played them earlier in the season, I think it was something silly. I think all three goalkeepers were injured, and they had to bring in another goalkeeper out of pretty much sort of just out of nowhere to play in the game. Chelsea have got that luxury that they've got so many players when G's off on international duty, when Sam Kerr's off on international duty, you fill in and you get on with the games and you still come away with results because you've got more big players that step up. That's the culture that Chelsea breed, is having that winning mentality from 1 to 25.
Yeah, Emma Hayes has done an amazing job with the team and just breeding the type of mentality that she wants, not just from her starting 11, but from the substitutes and the players that are training to be in that team. And I think it's a credit to what she's doing and her coaches, but also the mindset of the team and understanding that there's, like the men's team and the youth team, there's so many cups to challenge for, and you're going to need everyone.
Absolutely right. That's the thing, isn't it? You know, that's the thing we talk about. And Terran, just on that, because it's a culture thing. You know, the fact that Chelsea do compete in every level, in every sort of different discipline, whether it be the senior teams, whether it be the youth teams, whether it be the women's team. It's expected that Chelsea challenge for things. And the fact that we got knocked out of the Champions League, quite disappointed. Emma Hayes quite openly said that, very disappointed. Now, all of a sudden, we're back on that winning path, and the WSL title looks very much within our grasp again. Sorry, Taryn, can you hear us, mate? Is that all right? Yeah, all good.
I can hear you. I can hear you now. What was that last question?
We're just saying about the terms of, you know, Chelsea sort of have a winning culture, whether it be the first team or the youth teams or the women's teams. It's expected you go on and challenge, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. We always challenge, and I look forward to us always challenging men's, youth level, our team as well.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's really cool to see as well because, like we keep saying, you know, Emma Hayes is very much a part of the fabric of Chelsea, but we know that Emma has got a fantastic relationship with Thomas Tuchel, so them two exchanging notes and talking about things all the time, I wouldn't be surprised if Emma's watching this somewhere in some capacity, and again, having that sort of soundboard and managers of two elite managers to talk within clubs is such a positive thing for Chelsea to have.
Yeah, well, you're both pulling for the same thing. You know, we have different teams, but it's all everyone's got the same objectives. Everyone wants to win, and they want to help each other to win. So if you are looking up at the men's team or from a youth level, you want to be able to speak to Tommy and ask him, you know, all the stuff that you haven't quite learnt yet. This is the pinnacle of the sport. Chelsea are, you know, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and the men's team is a historic team. You know, why wouldn't you want to pick the brains of the person that's managing it? And I'm sure Tommy is learning some things back because the women's team are absolutely bossing it right now.
They absolutely are. They really are. It's such good fun to watch as well. We're joined by Ben Horner, who's joined us as well. Ben, good afternoon, mate. How are you?
Doing well. Sorry I was a little tardy to this party, but happy to be joining. How we doing?
Yeah, very good, mate. No problem. It seems like you've had to weave your way through a lot of people that are in your way behind you, so that's absolutely fine. It's not a problem with that. What have you made of the first half, mate?
Decent value, at least, for our lead. Probably should have a couple of more, and hopefully this is the floodgates opening for Romelu, who has just been starved for goals lately. I also thought that it's just another amazing performance from Kovacic. He has really stepped his game up every single match this season, and he's splitting the defense with his pass, and his vision is just superb this season, and it's another fantastic showing from him so far.
Ben, I'm going to have to put you on the spot because I have asked everyone unfairly, but who's your player of the season so far?
Kovacic. Absolutely. It's Kovacic. I just think the leaps and bounds in his progression over the last couple of years, especially from last year to this year, and he's really taken on a leadership role on the field as well. You can see when we need a little bit of drive, when we need that push to go forward, he's the one who often provides it from midfield. And there's so much intangible to his game that he brings week in, week out.
Absolutely right. I know Mateo Kovacic is definitely a popular figure. This one is Thiago Silva, definitely in that conversation as well. Thiago Silva versus Al Hilal during the first half. He is sensational, boys. Like Sam, every time we speak about Thiago Silva, I try and work out another analogy to give or another way to describe how brilliant he is. I've given up because I'm going to run out of words eventually. He's phenomenal. Yeah,
he's so good. He's just a seasoned defender. I don't know how he's getting better, or if he's just getting better at reading the game, or the strikers are just fearful of him, or the forwards are fearful of him. But when I've seen him in positions where you'd think, because of, you know, the fact that he's probably going up against younger forwards, they should be able to maybe tap it past him and use their youth, he finds a way to get the ball. And like we said with the striker today, he's reading him so well, just not to give him that opportunity. And it's such a good personality and mindset to have in the team for the other defenders, like Trevor coming through the team this year. That's the best, probably the best person you can learn from.
Absolutely right. Even, and it brings me back to the Tottenham game where it looked like Harry Kane had got the run on him for about a couple of yards behind you. Think, oh, OK, this might be the one time he gets caught out. And then all of a sudden it looks like he's 2 or 3 paces in front of everyone else, mind-wise as well as legs-wise. And then I think he drops the shoulder on Harry Kane, and he makes Harry Kane look like a Sunday League striker. He's one of the best footballers in the world.
It's like watching a Year 11 play with the Year 10s. It really is. He is so good, so graceful. He never looks like he's panicking or anything is the last ditch. Everything, even when he's clearing, and he is the last man, everything looks graceful. He still manages to get both hands behind his back and just put it out into Rose. That he is that good.
He really is that good. And Elizabeth as well. He's one of those players that I think the reason that us Chelsea fans love him so much is because you can see how much it means for him to play for Chelsea. You know, he's come here, and a lot of people, when he first signed, a lot of people kind of outside of the football club were sneering a little bit, looking at it thinking, going, you brought a 35-year-old centre-half in to fix your problems. Well, no, we haven't. Thiago Silva is definitely not 35, I'm sure of that. If he is, then he's found some sort of cheat code, because he keeps getting younger. He's phenomenal, but he is so much a part of this football club now because he loves it as much as we love him.
I always make that joke that he ages backwards because it's just incredible how good and how consistent he is at this stage in his career. But what I love about Thiago Silva is that he's really embraced Chelsea as his team. Not only him, but his wife and his family as well. You see them all over social media. And as fans, I absolutely love to see that, because you can see how much he cares about the club and how he plays for the badge every single time he steps foot on the pitch. And the family, they just have the cutest family ever as well. It's a joy to have them supporting Chelsea.
Really is, Terran. And every time you see the news that Thiago Silva signed a new deal for the football club, you never think it's going to be the last either, do you? When he first signed, it was a 1 year, then it was another year, and now he's signed for another year. You just think this will keep going until probably 2040. Thiago Silva is maybe 50 years of age, and he's still starting and making centre-halves and centre-forwards. Both look just ordinary next to him.
Absolutely. I hope he stays for a lot longer than these last few years. I look forward to another 6, 7, 8 years.
That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? That'd be so good. But it seems like a joke, but it almost isn't really a joke, Dan, is it?
It's not. I want him to play for as long as he can play at this level. You know, he doesn't. He's getting better. He's better now than he was at 35 when he came to Chelsea, and he was good then. He was great, but for me, he's playing as well as he ever has in his entire career. Probably in a tougher league, against tougher opposition, and every week, you know, week in, week out, regardless of who you play, you're up against very good strikers. And he's dealing with them all, you know. Did Chelsea have a vets team? We should have a vets team.
Dan's trying to get a team.
He's already mentioned he's playing at the new camp today, and there's this as well. Chelsea coming up for the second half at the moment. Kick-off is imminent. We'll keep you updated. And N'Golo Kanté has come on for Jorginho at half-time. So there's a little bit on that as well. Again, what a cheat code that is. You're 1-0 up and you bring on N'Golo Kanté. Just on partnerships as well, Sam, because we've seen it already in the first half, that link-up between Kai Havertz and Romelu Lukaku. There's a tweet, in fact, we've got about this, which is really a really good point. That's 9 goals Lukaku scored for Chelsea this season. 4 of them have come when Havertz is on the pitch with him. I think maybe it's kind of the balance that Kai likes to drop into those positions and perhaps allows Lukaku to play the width for the 18-yard box a little bit more and get in those goal-scoring positions. It may be that. It could be a contrast. It could be just that some players love playing with each other and find themselves finding them.
And I feel like they're interchanging positions quite well as well. Sometimes Lukaku's dropping deep and Havertz finds himself in that 9 position. But also you can tell that they, like, especially Havertz for Lukaku, he wants him to score goals. He wants his confidence to be built up because he knows that if Lukaku's playing well, then the rest of the team is going to build from that confidence. And it's nice to know that they care for each other to that extent.
No, completely right. And Jonathan, just on that, you know, we love seeing those partnerships develop and blossom, but I suppose on a positive point, but also a negative, because Chelsea have got so many options, feels like we don't see a consistent run of that, because if, you know, Lukaku and Havertz start up front, Timo Werner probably comes in at some point, Christian Pulisic, Mason Mount. We're so blessed that we perhaps don't get to see this partnership as much as in an ideal world we would.
I would believe that because look at the sheer amount of games that we are playing, all competing against all the competition. We will really need the whole big squad in order to compete in all those games. So this is a good problem for us to have.
Absolutely right. And Ben, just carrying on from that, because like Jonathan said, it's a great problem for us to have, because I think most Chelsea fans would argue that Chelsea are better when Mason Mount is in the team. You could also say the same for Kai Havertz. You could say the same for Lukaku and Werner and Pulisic. And it gets to a point where we can only name 11. So that's kind of the problem that Thomas Tuchel has to juggle day in, day out.
Yeah, it's that embarrassment of riches. But also it's worth noting that through the course of a long campaign like Chelsea is going to play, where you're playing 60, 70 plus matches over the course of 10 months, you're going to need almost every last one of those players. I mean, look how many times we've seen a player fall out of favor and then come back into the fold because they've either worked for that opportunity or there's been an injury that's presented that opportunity. We're doing all of this. We're talking about all of this in the depth of the squad. And we need to remember, we also were incredibly hit with injury issues for a good long while. So it's not as though these, we have extraneous bodies. This is an embarrassment of riches, and it's a great problem for Tuchel to have when everybody is fully fit.
That's an excellent point. It could be a chance here. Kai Havertz again bursting away. Little dink finish off the post. He's got such sort of fluid movement when he does get into a full burst of steam. He's a fantastic footballer, Dan, isn't he?
He's deceptively quick as well.
Yeah.
I remember Ozil having the same kind of not looking fast. But you try and keep up with him and see how far behind you're going to be. He has just ghosted absolutely everyone, waited for... Even his own teammates couldn't keep up. And he's attempted an audacious chip.
It's a trademark Havertz chip now, isn't it?
He is classy, isn't he? He's just got such a fluid... He's lovely to watch, but he's also tenacious. You know, when you look at his stats, he does just as much running as anybody else. A lot of times he's coming off doing the most miles. So it's not just beauty. There's a lot of economy in there as well.
It's a horrible cliche, Sam, and I hate to say it because I'm a football fan. I pay to watch football regardless, but he is a player that you'd pay to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's the thing. He'll always give you that moment where you're just like, wow, that's why I'm not a professional footballer, because I can't do that. And honestly, he's so young as well, and he's got so much more to his game to show Chelsea. And I think in some periods he was unfortunate, you know, when he got injured and then he got COVID, he got long COVID, and he had to come back from that. But like we said, the mindset he had to obtain to get through that is just amazing.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because, like you said, it shows quite a lot about him as a personality and him as a character as well. Just a little side point as well. During the Club World Cup, and it's the first game that Chelsea have been involved in, but Andreas Christensen's on as well. That's a lovely ball by Christensen, actually, into Romelu Lukaku. He's offside, which brings me on nicely to the point, actually, because at the moment it's being trialled today like a robot offside system. Okay, so it's something to do with like limb technology. So that I'll be honest with you, I'm not mechanically sound, so I'm not quite sure how it's working. Yeah.
Wait, so what does that mean?
There is a robot that kind of goes.
It gives them a decision in half a second. Okay. So theoretically, it will get decisions more correct than the human eye, and also as immediate as a human would make that judgment, which is fantastic. But we see the rules changing so often at the moment. I'm still not quite certain on the flag going up an hour and a half after the player's gone through when it's all finished, and then you pull it back, or I'm not quite sure, but this would be quite nice.
How come the linos are calling the offsides?
I don't know. Lee Parker's already said the Wi-Fi's not great there. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's just a trial. Maybe we don't quite know at the moment if it's going to work 100%. Just carrying on from the point we were making a little bit earlier, Elizabeth, about the squad depth and the amount of players that they've got to come in. It's such a good point to raise as well about the mentality of the Chelsea players and why, so specifically, Chelsea sign people as well as footballers. You know, it's important to remember that the character of the people. You don't really hear a lot of noise coming out of Chelsea. With other football clubs, if someone's not playing for a week, you see them on the front page of a tabloid newspaper or tweeting their displeasure. At Chelsea, you've got players that have to deal with coming in and out of the side, and that's down to the management of the team to keep everyone happy and on board, isn't it?
Definitely. I think it's down to the management of the team. And Thomas Tuchel, I think, plays a really large part in this, because I think he really knows how to manage his team, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And so he can pick the players based off of the opposition. And I think that he knows how to keep everybody happy. And like you said, we haven't seen so much of Timo Werner or Christian Pulisic or even Azpilicueta, who's the Chelsea captain, but they are still content. And I think obviously anybody would love to play week in, week out. But the thing with Chelsea is that, like you've said, we have a lot of games. There's going to be these opportunities. And I think having this large squad also allows some competition, because when they start, they know, okay, if I want to keep my starting spot, I really need to impress and I need to have a good game. So I think that that's really healthy for the club as well.
Absolutely. Not very healthy for my fantasy Premier League, though, because I never know who's going to start, which is really annoying. Really annoying.
That's why I stay away from Chelsea players in FPL, to be honest, because I can't deal with Tuchel roulette.
Me and Sam have this conversation on a weekly basis as well. We sit down and go, oh no, I don't know who to put in this week. It's been a tough season, Sam.
Yeah, you try and think like Tuchel, but you just don't know what's going to happen. Like sometimes I'm thinking, yeah, I've got him. These two players are playing because obviously they either had a good week beforehand, and you think that it would make sense if I was the manager, but I'm not.
I've bought a hat from the megastore like him to try and think, is this what it is?
Cross your arms before you make the decision.
Is this what it is? But again, yeah, just not on the same wavelength. And let's be fair, Dan, no one is on the same wavelength, which is why he's got the better of pretty much every manager in world football.
Yes, he must just obviously see things that we mere mortals cannot. So sometimes I'll look at a team and I'll look at a certain decision. I'll be like, oh, it doesn't look right. I can't work out what system, or I can't work out. But he's obviously done the extensive analysis. He knows exactly what he's doing. My only thing is that I've just learnt to trust him. With anything, with my life, I trust him with it. He is, he gets it right far more than he gets it wrong.
Oh, it's sensational. You're absolutely right there. And it's got to that point, hasn't it, where we always have this conversation, every Chelsea fan will do, when the team news comes out. You don't know who's going to start, but whatever team news, you go, OK, I can see that. That works. That's you can see why something's happening. Even now, we started the game without N'Golo Kanté, without Mason Mount, and you'd argue that those two are probably two of the most important players to Chelsea. Could be a chance here for Marcos Alonso. It's a corner for Chelsea. Just the narrative keeps coming back, though, that we've got a squad of players rather than individuals where potentially in the past we've been over-reliant on one specific player, Sam. We're not anymore. It's the team collective.
Yeah, and that's why it's amazing to be a Chelsea fan right now, because you can genuinely... It's been amazing anyway, don't get twisted. But it's just the fact that, like you said, you don't have to over-rely on players. I know there was a period a few years ago when we over-relied on Kanté, bringing him back when he had a few injury problems, and it's like you don't ever want a player to go through that or feel like that there's that much pressure on them performing every single game. Of course you'd want that, but at the same time we can understand that they're human and they have running games like the December. That's a penalty.
Could be a penalty. There has to be a pen.
Could be a penalty, no?
That has to... Is there VAR?
I'd imagine
so.
if the robots are working, then something will be going on. You look like a bit of a
what I've
tussle.
just seen on the edge of this box.
Oh, yeah, a bit of a tussle. Andreas Christensen, is that that's been wrestled to the floor? I think it is.
Yeah, it was.
It looked like a foul, really, didn't it? Yeah, it looked like a foul. Well, I mean, we'll soon find out. If that goes to VAR, I'd imagine it would. No, it's not. Play on. It's a strange one. Okay, it's a strange one. It's a strange one. Terran, 55 minutes in. I think Terran's just seeing it now. Yeah, 55 minutes into the game. Chelsea have been good value for it. And quite comfortable so far. We'll take this and we just ease our way to a 1-0 win. That'll do us.
Absolutely. I'll take a 1-0 win and get out of here, no injuries, and then hopefully we can go forward and be good as a squad and just keep going. I'm confused as to what just happened. What was that?
I'm not quite sure, actually. I'm not quite sure. It was a bit of a wrestling tussle on the side of Andreas Christensen and the defender. I mean, he does stop him. He does stop him from getting to the ball. That's, I suppose, what he was intending to do.
It's one of them ones. It does happen quite a lot in football, so you can kind of see why they wouldn't give it. But at the same time, the law of the game, you know, if you're stopping him from moving in the penalty box, it should be a penalty.
Chelsea have adapted quite well to this so far. Just a slide ball down here, but this is it's an interesting tweet actually about that, because this is from Gabe Henderson again, who's watching the game obviously today. I know it's incredibly taxing on a team to press with high intensity for 90 minutes, but I feel like N'Golo Conte's introduction makes it possible for Chelsea to put the press on again. That is until the Blues find a second. It's absolutely right, and Ben, just on that, because you know that does have to come into consideration at some point. You know, the well-being of the players, but ultimately a lot of these players won't have played in the conditions they're playing in at the moment. So you do have to rotate the side, and while they're acclimatised to the conditions.
Absolutely, and we know they've been out. We know that they've had some training there to try and get acclimated. But I think that gets us back to the depth of the squad, and I think that's also part of why we saw Tuchel make the selection that he did. It's minutes management. I think he was being quite smart and conservative, and knowing he's not going to be able to play N'Golo for 70, 80, 90 minutes, and he would rather get 45 from him going, you know, at his regular 100 miles an hour, rather than see him trying to measure his performance, which unfortunately is when players get hurt. So I think it's smart, diligent man management from Tuchel.
Absolutely right, and that's the difference, isn't it? You four are in all lovely warm places, and we're getting shorts and a T-shirt because it's got into double figures today. There's the real difference for us, I think, at the moment. Jonathan, it's been a good performance for Chelsea so far, but like Ben just said, you know, it's about managing not just the conditions, the game as such, but also, you know, keeping one eye potentially on the weekend and getting through it, like Terran said, without injury.
Definitely true. But then again, we cannot underestimate our opponents. They are all champions in their own right. This competition, one thing that we forgot about this competition is everyone is a continental champion. So we must be on our A game in order to win this game, to tide it through.
Absolutely fantastic point. And just on that, they've got a chance now through Odion Igalo. It's a good block actually from Thiago Silva. Just on that, Dan, because you know they've won 2 of the last 3 Asian Champions League trophies. They're the most successful side in Saudi Arabia, from the Saudi Arabian capital. They've got again many players. Moussa Marega just on our feed there. Odion Igalo used to play for Watford. Guido Carrillo as well is another one. They've got a lot of players that are very well known to the European audience, or the English audience. They're a very good side that can absolutely test the problem. And I think that's a little bit that Chelsea have been, I think, brilliant in terms of raising a light on. Is this isn't a competition where we go and sort of, you know, puff our chest out and go, we're better than everyone else, because you have to earn that, because everyone's a champion in their own right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just assume that because the European game is the most watched game, that it is, out and out the best game. All of these teams are good, and I've been very impressed with how we've dealt with them, because they are a good team, Believe it or not, for some reason I actually used to follow the Saudi Arabia League quite closely. So they are a good team. Yeah. Palmeiras are a good team. All of these teams are very, very good. So look, if you want to win this competition, there's no buys, there's no walkthroughs. You're going to have to play well every single minute of these games in order to win them.
I think every Chelsea fan's still having a slight nightmare over Mateus Pereira, who played very well in the 2 games for West Brom last year, which we would rather not talk about, in fact, because he was very good in that. Let's have a little chat about this, actually, because we were all saying it was a penalty. Penalties work differently in the Club World Cup, I guess. Yanni, fantastic comment. It's very true. It's one of those as well, isn't it, Sam, that, like you said, mate, it potentially was a penalty. N'Golo Kanté on the attack, by the way, for Chelsea.
Something just I've never seen in football before,
Oh, it's a strike from Ziyech. Oh, it's a great save. It's a volley. Wonderful technique from Hakim Ziyech there. It's what he does, that left foot.
Yeah, he's playing with so much confidence. I feel like he's got another yard of pace on him that I haven't seen before. And it's nice to see players like him that have always had that quality. Like you said, a key player in that Ajax squad that did so well in the Champions League, and now we're seeing that on a week-to-week basis.
He's a phenomenal player, he really is, and he's finding that form at the moment, Dan. Like Sam said, he's replicating that Ajax form, but also the form that we've all wanted for him, because every time it feels like he's getting into that, he picks up an injury. Pre-season, he was on fire. He was fantastic pre-season. Gets an injury early on. Then even last season, he just before Christmas, I think he got a knock in the Leeds game. He was brilliant until then, got the knock and got injured. Recently, obviously, the Spurs goal everyone's going to talk about, but just in general, his all-round play has been brilliant.
He's been very good. Do you know what? I've never been worried with Ziyech because I know how much talent is there. I know he has to be fit. To see him at his best, he needs to be fit, and feeling free. Otherwise, what he'll do is kind of labour over on the right-hand side and kind of just swing balls in. When he's fit, he's running at you, he's giving you different looks. And I think he needs to feel loved and in the mood, and feel like, he's needed and wanted. He's obviously a confidence player, and he's confident right now, because every time I've seen him get on the ball, he is playing with a swagger of somebody who knows that they are a level above the other players on the pitch.
Absolutely right. This tweet, actually, I think, echoing the points that we're making here. A glimpse of Ziyech from his Ajax days, best player on the pitch in recent matches, #Club World Cup. He absolutely has been, and I think he's a little bit, sort of throwing it back a little bit, actually, throwing it back a little bit, Ben, because he's got a little bit of the Arjen Robben about him, isn't he? He wants to cut inside into that left foot, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, the phrase that I like to use with Hakim is borrowed from American sports. We talk about a heat check in the NBA when a player is really feeling himself and is just hitting shot after shot after shot, and each attempt gets more on and more audacious. I feel like when Hakim is on his game, he's playing that sort of match. He's throwing up heat check crosses and just throwing in these audacious balls that only he can dream up, that only he can envision. And it's when he's feeling his game, it's when that left foot is that magic wand that he is most dangerous. And I actually just want to echo the sentiment that, wasn't ever really concerned about him, quote unquote, coming good, just because the enormous level of technical ability has always been on display with him.
Absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. And Terran, just on that, it was a little conversation that me and the boys were having before we were watching the Youth League game. We were talking about Olivier Giroud and the fact that if you piece together all of Oli Giroud's goals, you can make a feasible argument in 10 or 15 years' time. They're in on goal, by the way. Good save by Kepler from Marega. You can make a feasible argument he's the greatest player to ever play football because of the sheer standard of his goals are frighteningly good. If you piece together a highlight reel of Hakim Ziyech's passes and his slide balls and his 50-yard diagonals, you could again make the argument he's the best passer of the ball in world football ever, because he's got that in his locker that he can do something that other players cannot do.
Absolutely. When he first signed, I was so excited for him to be here because that was all I could see was him with Ajax, and I was hoping that energy would be brought to Chelsea, which, like everyone has said, injuries have kind of derailed that a little bit for him. But I like this form that he's getting back into, and so I'm here and I'm ready for all of that energy. I'm here for that.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And we just saw there, Jonathan, the importance of Kepa in goal and the difficulties with a goalkeeper about not being involved for a lot of the game, but then having to be switched on at the key moment, and a really big save from the goalkeeper.
Definitely, Kepa is one of our stars this season. He won us the European Super Cup as well through the penalty shootout. He's becoming more and more of a figure whereby he is so important for competitions like this.
Absolutely right. And just carrying on from that point, actually, Elizabeth, because he's been brilliant recently. You know, there's a Carabao Cup final in just over a fortnight's time. Potentially he'll be playing in a cup final on Saturday. He'll have a very good argument to say to Thomas Tuchel, there's no need to change it, boss. You know, Edu Mendy's now got to play the part of trying to nudge him out of the way in training, because you've got two goalkeepers at the very pinnacle of form at the moment.
I think it's a really good problem to have, and I'm happy for Kepa that he's found form and he's a really good penalty taker. So they're definitely, sorry, not a penalty taker, penalty saver. So there's a really strong argument to start him. Obviously, Edu Mendy saved a penalty in the AFCON win with Senegal, but yeah, either one of them really I feel very comfortable with, and that's a blessing for Chelsea.
Absolutely right. It's a dangerous free kick at the moment for Al Hilal, and it is Mateus Pereira who's over it, and I think there's Salim Al-Dosari as well, who's a very, very good player for them, very tricky winger. I think he's their second highest top goal scorer this season. He scored in the 6-1 win as well. It is Pereira, it's straight into the wall, which is a good block. But those are the moments that you've got to not worry about, Sam, but we've seen how good they are. We've seen the quality they've got within the squad. And this game is definitely one of those, while it's 1-0, you've got to be aware, because a single moment of brilliance from them, and all of a sudden we've got all to do again. Yeah,
that's why a second goal in this time frame as well is so important, because as the game gets going and the last few minutes happen, they're going to feel like they're going to have a moment to get into the game. And Pereira, like you said, he had a few good games against us, and they're really trying to you know get into our faces and proving why they're in this competition. So I think it's just for us to maintain the press, maintain the energy, the intensity that we've been showing. Lukaku's just held up the ball really well there, and I think it is we have been doing that throughout the whole game. It's not like we've slowed down. It just says a lot about how they're trying to play.
Completely a yellow card for Gustavo Cuellar as well, the sort of defensive midfielder for Al Hilal. Just on them as well, Dan, like Sam's saying there, you know, we know they've got ability, we know they've got quality. Obviously, they won 2 of the last 3 Asian Champions League, which is a huge achievement, because there's a lot of money teams over there now as well. A lot of players, you know, a lot of former Chelsea players that are applying their trade in that competition, and that's such a big deal. But not just that. The fact they win their quarter-final game 6-1 in the first round. Leonardo Jardim as well, their coach, who was formerly of Monaco, so again, very familiar to sort of European faces and European eyes. But he's said that, I suppose, to paraphrase, he's a bit unhappy that some teams, i.e. Chelsea and Palmeiras, enter at the semi-final stage and don't have to qualify as much as they do, right? So there's a little bit of, he's intimating a little bit of big team bias, which adds again a little bit to what you understand their team talk will be, which is, you know, these boys turn up halfway through the tournament. You've done the hard graft already. They turn up for a semi-final and they think they're going to knock you out and move on. So this game is definitely one just a header there from, is that Kai Havertz with a header? It's a good save. But this is, again, adding to the narrative that this game is going to go deep, and they're very much a threat.
Yeah, they are a threat, you know, and they're a team that aren't used to losing much, you know. They win their domestic league, they win their domestic cups, they win the European Cup. They're a good team, you know, and they're beginning to turn the screw a bit and show us that they are a good team. It's a good block.
A Garlish shot there, blocked by Thiago Silva.
And we,
great shot.
It was a great save.
Great save from Kepa. It's a really good save actually from distance. It's set back to the edge of the box. It's like a side-footed. It's got enough on it, but it's a whipped effort. It's a really good spring from Kepa. Really good. Big left hand. But again, that's what we're talking about from goalkeepers. Your top-level goalkeepers know that a moment will come, and if you've not got a lot to do in the game, that concentration is what sets them apart.
And that's one of those saves that he's just made, that you have to make a decision, because you know he's coming onto the ball 18 yards out, and you have an inkling that he wants to go back in that far corner, so he kind of stayed there and managed to make a good save. But they're a good team. You know, we have nullified them, and I would say that, you know, we should probably be more than 1 goal ahead. But this is why you always want to have that little bit of a buffer, because they begin to grow into the game. All these big teams do it.
Absolutely right. And again, you know, you look at the options that Chelsea have got on the bench in terms of Christian Pulisic, of course, Timo Werner. I've still got Trevor Chalobah, Saul Niguez, Ross Barkley, Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Kennedy and Malang Sarr as well. So quite a lot to do. Here's a really cool tweet actually talking about the goalkeeper situation after that fantastic Kepa save from Philip. I don't think neither Kepa nor Mendy have a guaranteed starting spot anytime soon. It's a really good point. It's a great position to be in, Sam. Like we said, when you're competing on so many different fronts, I suppose it can seep in a little bit of complacency if you know you're starting every week. You know, you want to be competing for final spots, don't you?
Yeah, and it shows the level that they're at. Like they're both performing on a high level. Kepa, while he's at Kepa Wiley's at Chelsea. He's shown consistency. We saw Mendy in the African Cup of Nations while he was away with his Senegal, showing that same consistency. And I think it's good for both of them. Like you said, they've got a good relationship. They're both pushing each other, trying to implement areas in their game that then they might both need help in, let's say. So I think it's great for Tuchel.
Yeah, completely right. 20 minutes to play. Chelsea still 1-0 up. Thiago Silva now kind of slowing things down, wondering how that experience is what you need. Elizabeth, I just want to talk to you about Kepa, actually, because from a Spanish perspective, I know you spend a lot of time in Madrid, and just on that, because Spain have had some wonderful goalkeepers over the last sort of couple of decades, and even at the moment, you know, I know he's not first choice, but the performances he's putting in for Chelsea and the fact that he's winning tournaments, that's got to put him sort of closer to the top of the pecking order for the national team, hasn't it?
I think so, and for the World Cup, it's going to be really important. I keep forgetting that the World Cup is like right here because we just had the Euros, but I think that this game time is going to really benefit Kepa in making a bid to be Spain's starting goalkeeper in the World Cup, and I think that he's looking a lot more confident and that they would do good having him. They obviously have 2 very talented goalkeepers, but you know, living in Madrid, a Spanish resident, I low-key hope that Kepa gets the starting spot.
Yeah, fingers crossed, that'd be really good for him as well. I know he'd absolutely love that. He's spoken again. If you haven't listened to the Mic'd Up podcast this last week, where the interview with Kepa was fantastic, because he speaks about how much he loves being sort of a character and how he's bought into the sort of culture and everything living over here. He's a fantastic ambassador for the club again. Just on the game actually, Terran, because it's quite even still. 20 minutes to go. Al Hilal have grown into the game. I mean, the possession stats pretty much 55-45, 11-14, very similar. It looks like Mason Mount potentially is going to come on. So maybe that's a little thought process from the Chelsea team. Get some legs in the middle and maybe sort of run the game away from them.
I hope so. I just saw the saves that you guys were just talking about, the one from Kepa, and I just saw the shot that I think you guys just reacted to. I had the same breath hold. So yes, we need some fresh legs in to definitely help us with putting it into this and kind of working it to where we can see it out 1-0. I definitely agree that we definitely need some fresh legs on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hakim Ziyech is the man that's going to be replaced by Mason Mount. Just on that, Jonathan, because again, Mason Mount has been. I mean, he's Mr. Chelsea, isn't he? I don't know if you saw the Unseen Diaries, and if you haven't seen them, do go and check them out on the Fifth Stand app or the Chelsea YouTube, because Mason's character is fantastic. Like, he's peering around the side when the other players are doing photo shoots. He's involved in every bit of sort of fun around the camp, and he's such an important figure to not just on the pitch but off the pitch and the morale for Chelsea, isn't he?
Definitely, as a homegrown boy with us, Mason is definitely one of our backbones, along with our academy player like Reece James, like Chalobah. I hope to see more of him, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. I will believe that we have a team that will be for many years to come.
Absolutely right, and just carrying on for that, Ben, because Chelsea players also always get a positive spin from us, and we love seeing players that have come through the academy. But the second that Mason Mount wore the armband for the first time, you knew that wouldn't be the last, and he's got all those traits to be a future Chelsea captain, hasn't he?
He really does. He's a model professional, and he's learned from some of the best in that regard. You know, he always seems to be one of the first out to training. He always seems to be one of the last in after training, just putting in the extra work. But as you point out, his impact goes so far beyond that. His community efforts are fantastic. I think one of the moments I think of when I think of Mason isn't even Chelsea related. It's that moment from the summer when he was playing for England, and that viral video when he went into the stand after, I believe it was the semifinal, to give a young England fan his shirt. And you could just see the pure joy, the happiness that he got from her excitement. And you just know he's just one of the good ones. He's got a good heart, and he just wants to pay that all forward.
Absolutely right. We are very proud and very lucky to have him as part of this football club. By the way, Al-Hilal have just gone very close there with a header from Hyun So Yang, who's a South Korean international. It's a really good header just past the first post. But that's the warning sign, Dan. That's the fact that we're still in a game here and we've still got to do a job, because it's far from done with just over 15 minutes left of normal time.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. You know, if I am trying to work out what to do, it looks like they are beginning to grow and we are beginning to maybe shrink a little bit, and we are looking at the clock thinking there's 16 minutes left, can we just see this out and get one more goal? We've brought on Mount, obviously, some tired legs, but you'd expect this, you know, this is that they are used to playing in these conditions all the time. We are tough as nails, though, so I'm pretty sure we see this through. That's quality from Kovacic.
Yeah, it's just broke from the middle of the park.
That's beautiful.
That's what you need, isn't it? In those tight moments, you need players that can carry the ball, show a bit of composure, and he's just threaded the ball to Lukaku, trying to work a shooting angle for Mason Mount. I think he's going to be snuffed wide. Yes, a good save by the goalkeeper. But you talk about that and trying to get a foothold on the game. It's still got plenty of players that can come on and make an impact. You're looking at someone like Sal Niguez, who, again, has got that composure and can get on the ball and start plays. You've got someone like Ross Barkley, again, who's got that ability. Or if you want to maybe stretch the game a little bit more and try and play on the counter and look for those opportunities as Al-Hilal really start to sort of knock on the door a little bit, you've got Timo Werner and Christian Pulisic. So Chelsea have got options should they need to take them, Sam.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've been stressing this whole season. We've got a lot of squad depth and quality players that can come on and change games, and this type of game is that type of game that we're going to need. We might need someone to, you know, maybe just change the energy a little bit. Kanté did that when he first came on, but I think now Al-Hilal are realising that the clock is running and they need to get a goal to stay in this competition. So you're always going to have periods in the game where this happens. I think we're doing quite well in kind of weathering the storm, but I think maybe another player or two could make that a bit easier.
75 minutes on the clock, just about to tick over into the 76th. There was a little bit of a half appeal for a penalty there, Dan. Yeah. There's nothing in it, though, is there?
There's never a penalty. If you're not giving ours, you're not allowed to give theirs.
How's that refereeing course going for you? Is it all right?
Absolutely nowhere.
No, yeah, it was a bit of a soft one, wasn't it? The player looked more in hope than anything else, but they're definitely growing into the game. They're keeping the ball very well, and like you just said there, like you and Sam have both said, maybe it is the time where you look at it and think, OK, this is the time where you need the characters to step up. Maybe if it's not a change of personnel, you look across the pitch and you've got Thiago Silva and Cesar Azpilicueta and N'Golo Kanté and Mateo Kovacic, the amount of big titles there is between them. They've been in this situation before. This is their bread and butter.
They know how to navigate this. This is a moment that you probably get in every game, you know, whether you're playing in the World Club Cup or whether you're playing against Norwich. You know, you have moments in a game where you are under the cosh and you've got to be able to get through those. And if you can nick something cheap going the other way, that's perfect. If not, then you just learn to weather the storm. But I think we're doing OK. The last couple of minutes or so, I feel like we've begun to get more of the ball, and perhaps Al-Hilal have started to feel the pace as much as we have.
Yeah, absolutely right. And maybe this is what we were talking about earlier in terms of the conditions now playing a part as you enter the latter stage of the game, and Al-Hilal obviously a lot more used to similar sort of conditions to play football in terms of temperature, etc. And we just had a live picture in actually from Kerr, who's seen this today, loving it, absolutely loving it, isn't he? Big Pete giving the instructions before the game. Maybe that was the team talk, Sam. Maybe it was just a case of, do what I do, you'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. But I think for a player like Peter Cech to give a team talk at the beginning, a man with so much experience and he's just used to winning. Like, if I was one of the players, I wouldn't want to let him down. And I know that he probably said that he wanted the opportunity to win it. Obviously, he had the opportunity, and they felt that they should have won it. And he probably told them, like, it's the same thing this year. You've got an opportunity to win a trophy that you've never won before. You can kind of see, like we've been saying, in the intensity and the way that we're playing, that we're taking it very serious and we're not treating it like it's just a friendly.
That's the important thing, isn't it, Jonathan, about the respecting the competition and the level of opponent that you're playing against? Because as we keep coming back to, Al Hilal are the Champions League winners in their continent. You know, they're a fantastic side. They win leagues all the time. They're winning leagues. They're winning cup competitions. They've got a manager that's got a fantastic pedigree as well. They're sort of the Chelsea equivalent in Saudi Arabia, which is why we need to be aware of them, because if it was the other way around and we were 1-0 down with 10 to go, as a Chelsea fan, I'd probably be sitting here thinking, OK, we're getting the better of the game, we're still in this.
Definitely, they're causing us actually many troubles right now. I want to feel confident, but the game is a little scary right now. We are on the edge, so I hope that we can fight this game through. Definitely, they are champions in their continent. They have the winning mentality, the elite mentality in them as well. So we cannot take anything for granted until the final whistle.
That's exactly it, isn't it, as well, Ben? It's about mentality a lot of the time. You know, you can train as hard as you can. You can work on set-piece routines. You can work on patterns of play and changes during the game. But the one thing you can't really train is that mentality within yourself. And that only comes with winning big tournaments, winning big trophies, being in a position where you look around the dressing room, you know you can rely on them. And again, looking at the players and how up for every single battle they are, Al Hilal still very much feel they're in this game and they can get something from it.
Very much so, as I think I'm about to see what Sam was just reacting to a moment ago there. Great chance for Mason. But yeah, I think you talk about that mentality, and it's that focus, that ability to maintain that mental sharpness for 90 minutes and not have that lapse, that one mistake cost you. And I think that's what Chelsea have really shown under Tuchel, is that they are more often than not going to be able to play through and display that elite focus, that elite mentality.
Terran, I was watching some of the old Club World Cups back from the last couple of years when Bayern Munich have won it, Liverpool have won it, Real Madrid have won it a couple of times as well. And whenever you watch those games, you always get the same sort of impression, which is the bigger clubs turn up the first 5 or 6 minutes and then they realise, OK, we're really in for a game here. It didn't feel like that from Chelsea. It felt like from the outset they were ready in the way they prepared and started players. But maybe Chelsea have learned from that in the past, because perhaps the bigger teams get away with the first 10 or 15 moments because of their ability. But Chelsea are known, they've got a tough draw to get past this team to start with. So there's been no complacency or no lapse in concentration. You just hope now that the fact that the game has sort of stayed close, despite it going the distance, it feels like, that Chelsea will get over the line.
I agree. For me, it's going to sound absolutely crazy compared to everyone else, probably. I prefer a game to be 1-0, because then you had to stay switched on. If we had gotten that second goal a little bit earlier, I feel as if we might have had that mental lapse. But with it staying 1-0, we've been in it. We stayed turned in. We stayed ready to defend. And I'm enjoying seeing what I'm seeing from our defense, although they have a bit more possession. But I feel confident in our ability to counterattack from what we have on the field with players. And good job. I'm a few minutes behind you guys, so I just saw it. Good block. Yeah, so that is a huge deal. I like it with the 1-0, 2-0 worst lead in soccer. So I'm happy where we are right now.
Terran, I really enjoy having you on the show, but I couldn't disagree with you more, mate. I'd rather it be 5 or 6-0 and we can ride off into the sunset. Absolutely not. I'd take a comfortable nothing game and it be finished after 20 minutes, absolutely. But Elizabeth, there is a part of that as well. They have to be switched on the whole way through, and then you get through today. You've got a very tough side in Palmeiras in the final on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm getting nervous. I'm sitting here like, what's going to happen? And my stream is also behind as well. So I think I'm 1 or 2 minutes behind you guys. So I know that if you don't react, we haven't scored yet. So I'm waiting for that. But I would prefer us to have a higher scoreline, and then you can try to relax a little bit, because then you would have the final this weekend. And right now I'm just getting very nervous about it. But I think whatever the scoreline is, if it's a 1-0 win or a 3-0 win, a win's a win, and then we'll have all eyes focused on the final on Saturday.
Completely right. I think me and the boys were hoping if it was 2 or 3-0 by half-time, we'd get FIFA out for the second half and just chill, just enjoy it. But Sam, I mean, we've got 7 minutes of normal time plus whatever's added on. There's probably be a couple of minutes, not a huge amount of stoppage, but that never usually stops games sort of going 3 or 4 minutes at least. But it's starting to get a little bit spiky. It's starting to get a little bit spiky. Mason Mount and
I love Mount.
The defenders not too pleased with Mason Mount getting a little bit.
No, but
I'm not happy with the defenders. They really are. Look,
no, you're right. Mason did nothing wrong there, but he did the right thing in terms of just stepping away from it, not allowing any silliness to get in the way. Because the last thing you want, Sam, is to put all the good work in the first 83 minutes and then get a red card over nothing, really, because you can get dragged into those sort of things. And even if you're not in the wrong, you've seen referees dish out red cards to defuse a situation before. You don't want that.
Yeah, and they know what they're doing. Kovacic literally just got a yellow card a few minutes ago as well. He's been getting stuck in, so he's going to have that on his mind. But I think that it started from when Aspie went up for a header and the left-back just cleaned him out. Cleaned him out. Aspie did well to, get up, because I would have been down for a good 2-3 minutes. I don't know about you, man.
Sounds out for the season. Like that, do me.
I'm rolling around.
But Dan, again, and it feels a little bit like we're being sort of, and I mean this in genuinely the opposite way to how it sounds, but it's starting to get a little bit bitey now. It's starting to really feel like a semi-final, and it's not that it hasn't, but in terms of a lot of the sort of the talk beforehand is that you go out, it's a beautiful setting in Abu Dhabi, you turn it for a semi-final, you can play a final in 3 days' time, but this is really a good point, a good evidence point to say how much it means to the players, because now Mason's leaving a little bit in there on the left back, who's trying to make a meal of it, and it's really starting to get a bit spiky, which is good because you want to see that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were beginning to look a little bit tired, and then as soon as you get a little bit of bite, you forget that you're tired. You get a second wind. So it looks like we're back at the races, and this is just proof that this is no friendly.
No.
This is not how friendlies are played. This is a real game. We've got 5 minutes to go plus stoppage time.
Malang Sarr being
it looks
ready,
like they are getting a little bit rattled now, Al Hilal, because they're realising that they've tried everything that they could. They've not had much success from it. Let's see what happens if they fly in on a couple of challenges. So we just got to keep composed. No additional yellows, no red cards. See this game out. Go and win the game in the final.
Yeah, exactly. Malang Sarr getting readied. Looks like he's going to be joining the action imminently, but not quite sure who for at the moment. But again, you look at the statistics, and you can get them all on the fifth stand-up as well in the statistics part of the little scroll down bar below you. And it's a very even game. It really has been a very even game, and I think that the fact that this is still tight with 5 or 6 to go, Mason Mount's been fantastic since he's come on. In fact, we've got a little tweet about Mason Mount here because he's loving a little battle with that left back, isn't he? Mason Mount has rattled Al Hilal. He is very much making an impact since coming on as a substitute. Marcos Alonso, by the way, being substituted for Malang Sarr. Does that mean potentially we go to a back four? Can you see Malang Sarr playing wing back or left back, Sam?
Maybe, but I think it's also to do with the climate that they're playing in. I think Alonso's been they've really tried to, get at him, especially in this half, and I'm sure that wouldn't be easier. So I think maybe just fresh legs. Sarr's had quite a good few games at left back and left wing back as well. So I'm sure that's just to freshen it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that refresh is important, isn't it? As we ebb into the final sort of 5 or 6 minutes, Malang Sarr straight involved, by the way, nipping in and taking one off the fullback, and you want something to happen. This is kind of what's happening at the moment, is Mason Mount's getting a lot of traction on social media. I love it when Mason Mount is on the wind-up. And do you know what as well? The best thing about all of this, and you'll see this on the highlights a little bit later on, is he's engaging and then he's letting them carry on. He's doing exactly the right thing because he's winding the clock down. He knows that we've all been in this situation. We've all played Sunday League, Saturday League football where we've got a little bit rattled over playing football and someone on the opposition team is just that little bit too good for you maybe, and then all of a sudden heads go down. Mason Mount's loving it at the moment though. But Ben, that's the attitude we talk about from a captain. He's towing the line perfectly at the moment because he's doing everything that Chelsea want. He's winding the clock down, he's making the right runs, and he's allowing them to get frustrated at him without biting.
Absolutely. And I think it's been twofold. You know, he brought that fire back to R11 by getting that reaction as they kind of leapt to his defense. But yeah, he's clearly rattled them from their game plan and taken them out of their rhythm. I think Al Hilal had been in a good rhythm and had developed a decent tempo. And it wasn't really until Mason came on that we saw Chelsea break up that run of play that they had. I just think it goes to show you everything that he can bring to the pitch.
Absolutely right. We've just seen Mason Mount whip a devilish ball in from the right-hand side as well. I mean, he must be millimetres away from either connecting with Romelu Lukaku. I think it was Kai Havertz as well, sneaking in behind, very, very close to getting to it. It's such a great delivery. But just on that, we talk about sort of setting the tone and setting the tempo. This is what we talk about, Elizabeth, when we speak about Mason Mount having the sort of maturity beyond his years, because it's very easy to get drawn into things, but he's come on and he's doing everything right so far. And again, like Ben was saying, that the fact that he's rattled them is mainly because he's playing the game, and perhaps Chelsea have been a little bit naive in that respects in the past and in history. But you have to manage the game, and Mason's come on, he's managing the game wonderfully well.
Can I just say I love that he was standing up for Aspie, because I think he kind of went up against the defender after the Aspie challenge. So I love that. But I think that Mason Mount is such a complete player, and I think it's easy to forget just how young he is, because like you mentioned, he does have that in-game management and that maturity when he plays, and he's really brought that energy, and I think he's helped Chelsea to go up a notch. And I think one of the biggest things is that when Mason Mount is on the pitch, he really initiates Chelsea's press, and so he starts that movement, and he just is so enthusiastic and energetic, and that's exactly what you need to close out the last couple of minutes of the game. Absolutely right.
We're edging close to the 90th minute. Antonio Rudiger just a thunderous tackle, by the way, just a second ago. Mason Mount is on one today from William. He absolutely is, and he could be in here. In fact, there's a little break just about to go 90th minute. He's tried to play it to. They've got bodies behind it now from Kai Havertz. Seconds to go now, boys. 3 additional minutes, and we're into that now. Dan, this is what you want to see. Mateo Kovacic running back to the halfway line to keep the ball. That's what you want.
Yeah, I just want us to keep it. This is good from Chelsea. It really is. We had the opportunity to maybe go at them, and now
feels like a little bit.
I can't do this job anymore. Right? All right.
What happened?
Okay.
What happened?
We're turning the screw.
Nothing just yet. I think that's the thing. We're getting close. We're getting closer. Okay. This is Azpilicueta with a cross ball, and it's hooked clear. Very, very close. It's wonderful play from Azpi. But just on that, Sam, this is almost similar to Chelsea's behaviour last year, isn't it? A 1-0 win, seconds to go. Let's just make sure we edge the game out.
Yeah, Christensen has just done the best tactical foul I've ever seen. He literally just hugged him to the ground. Because if he had turned him, we would have been in trouble. But I respect it.
It was like those game shows where they have to hold on to the thing that takes them over the water. It was a little bit like that. It's getting It's again they're Al Hilal. We can see are really pushing for it, but they're starting to get very frustrated, and they've got 90 seconds or so to try and get something from it. Dan, you just want to try and get hold of the ball, try and keep hold of the ball, and find a corner now.
And find a corner. Literally, just what I was about to say. It looks like they're going to have one final bite at the cherry. No, they won't. It's a goal kick. And hopefully it takes us 1 minute to even get the ball, get it to the spot, and then get it back in their half.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, I mean, it's not nice to watch for a neutral, but it's part of the game that you have to keep a close eye on this clock, wind it down as fast as you can, get it in tactical places, and just get the 3 points and get through to the final.
Absolutely right. You know, we are 60 seconds away. The Al Hilal fans in the stands are starting to get a little bit restless about the game being dwindled and sort of ebbed away by Kepa. But Jonathan, this is it. This is what we wanted. You know, we're 60 seconds away from another major final, which is what Chelsea Football Club do.
Yes, a win is a win, though. 1-0 is a good enough win. I just saw the Christensen hug on that guy. What a good professional foul that is.
That's exactly what it is. That is a perfect professional foul, isn't it? And Terran, you're the only one that's enjoying this. So are you enjoying this still?
Yes, I am. I just saw Mason Mount's hair. It's amazing today. I didn't realize how it was flowing. But yeah, I'm enjoying this professional win. I'm enjoying how we're gonna see it out. I enjoy it. I'm very, very, very happy with what we've done today.
Absolutely right, and we're just into the final 10 seconds, so hopefully any moment now. There's a lot of hands-on heads from the fans inside inside the stadium in Abu Dhabi from the Al Hilal fans, as we just taking time over the throw-in, just slow things down. And then that's the one man you want in this position to hold the ball as the clock sort of ebbs to a finish is Romelu Lukaku. But N'Golo Kanté's got other ideas, so he's running away with it and running around people, which again only N'Golo Kanté can do. But this is what you want, isn't it? This is what you want. The seconds to go, and that's it. In fact, full time. Chelsea are into the Club World Cup final on Saturday against Palmeiras. 1-0 winners over Al Hilal. Boys, good work.
Yeah,
great one.
Great win. I'll take that. Now I can say that I appreciate the 1-0, but in those last few minutes, it's just so hard to watch because it's like every touch, every pass is so important. But yeah, I think it was a professional win.
Yeah, absolutely. Professional win is absolutely right. Yeah. Something that's not quite that level of professionalism is probably our reaction cams. Let's have a little look at some of the best bits from that, because this is always uncomfortable for us to watch, but nice. Yeah, good clapping, boys. Yeah, good clapping from you. That's fine. You're allowed that. Again, I'm trying to maintain the composure of it at some point. But
it's a great service.
This is good from you, Dan. I'll be honest with you, mate, as well, because we've watched games in the past where you've stood up for the entirety of it. So the fact that you stay seated is big.
The first instructions were you must just stay sitting down. Usually I'll watch it right. I'll block the view. You guys won't be able to watch the match.
But you are a fan of these padded seats now. I've seen you in boxes all over the country nowadays.
I'm getting too used to it, I'm afraid. But I've been on plastic recently. I have been on the normal seats.
No, we did well. We stayed quite composed. I'm not gonna lie. There was moments that was difficult in that game.
Yeah, it was difficult again. But like we said beforehand, you know, this is what we talk about. You get into these competitions. The sides that are in it are all brilliant because they're all champions. They've all got that elite mentality, that winner's mentality. And trust me, when you think no one's taking it seriously, have a little look at the highlights from this game because everyone's taking it seriously. Thank you so much to our Zoom wall, Elizabeth, Tara and Ben, Jonathan. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are free at the weekend, obviously we've got another game Saturday, so book us in. If you're about to come back on Zoom, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So we look forward to seeing you all. Go and enjoy the rest of your day. Celebrate, not too much though. We've got a final, so an early night Friday. Thank you very much. and we will see you then. Obviously, plenty more coming up on the fifth stand-up as well, which is going to be really fun over the next couple of days, as you well imagine. Obviously, Saturday afternoon is going to be the big one as well. But first, obviously, we've got a live game for you on Friday evening, so make sure you join us on the fifth stand-up. And Saturday 11 a.m. that is for us, so make sure you get us on for that one. Loads of football coming up, and of course, the big one, Saturday afternoon, Chelsea in the final of the Club World Cup. So make sure you join us for Matchday Live for that one. Boys, job done.
Job done.
Job done. Hey,
nice and easy.
Yeah, big deep breath. We'll say that.
Yeah, it was a good win. You know, I think they were a bit of an unknown quantity. We didn't know what we'd be up against and they're really what their characteristics are. We knew there'd be a tough game, but I think we played that like a favourite should play it.
Yeah, we played it right. Semi-finals. Chelsea got a great record in semi-finals. Chelsea have also got a great record in finals. Sam, this weekend, you feeling confident now?
Yeah, I am. I think we're gonna. I wouldn't say we'll walk it because it's a final. I think we're gonna same intensity. I think a lot of the players, like we can highlight Kerr, some of the defenders, Lukaku's movement, Havertz, Kovacic in the middle. Like they really played like they knew the occasion and what it means to not just them but the fans as well. So yeah, that same mentality, and I'm sure we'll get the trophy lifted on Saturday.
Absolutely right. Boys, brilliant as always. Thank you very much. Yeah, Chelsea are into the Club World Cup final. On Saturday, they will play Brazilian side Palmeiras for that silverware. Make sure you join us for it on Matchday Live. Enjoy the rest of your week.